Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends,
one shared obsession.
Books.
From epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
So take a seat,
Grab a drink,
and get cozy.
All right, welcome back, book friends. How are y'all doing? How was your weekend? Did we have a good one? For me, it was an eventful weekend full of trees. The most random thing.
trees. Okay.
Okay, why?
Yes. So now,
Do
is
explain.
this cozy?
Yeah.
No, it's not cozy. It's like,
Okay.
so we're with Nick's parents for right now, in the middle of our transition. And so part of that, like, they have a lovely home, and part of their home is this big, lovely tree out in their front yard. And unfortunately, the way that it has grown over the years, it's kind of like halved in the middle, and this half over here fell
Oh
off
no.
over. And it was really sad. But it's the strangest thing though, because Nick's car was parked in the line of the tree fall,
Oh my gosh.
but
It completely missed it?
did not, it by an inch.
My
Like,
gosh.
it's tree inch car.
Oh my
And
god.
Wow.
yeah, it was amazing.
That would
That it didn't
have been
damage
so
it.
crazy.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
so
and
bad.
what's more is that Nick's dad usually parks his car in that spot, and his car is taller, and so it would have completely just
Yeah.
wrecked his car.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
And then, unfortunately, this morning, the other half of the tree fell.
Oh.
Oh man.
And and because we had the huge storm come in last night,
Yeah.
and it just
Probably
made the
already
ground super
unbalanced.
soft. Yes. And so it just completely toppled over. So that was sad to see. And so we had to get the arborist out here, and they
Chop
cut
it
it
down.
up and
Yeah.
and wood chipped it out. And so it was sad, but I'm just so thankful no one was hurt.
Yeah.
And that it didn't
Seriously.
fall on the cars or the house. So
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
I'm sorry about the tree, but I'm really glad nothing
Yeah.
was damaged.
yeah, it's quite amazing.
Crazy.
Well, my weekend was not that eventful. So I think I've mentioned this to you both, but at work I get 2 remote days, and then right now that I'm in July, I actually get Fridays off if I work 4 10-hour days. So this past week, I actually was remote Wednesday, Thursday, and then I was off Friday, and then I had the weekend. So I have been home basically for several days. So this weekend, I really just focused on finishing a few books that I was in the middle of. I finished Metal Slinger and Light Wielder, and had the best time talking about it with Stephanie, and not in the best way either, because it was
Kind of
so
bashing it.
not great.
Ooh.
Not
Yeah.
great, but we still had fun talking about it.
Yeah.
And then I've been reading a dark romance by Bryn Weaver called Tourist Season, and so I finished that. And I tried to start Harvest Season, but it's not starting. Book 2 is not starting off so great. So right now, it's not keeping my focus, and I wasn't I've read a few chapters, but I haven't gotten super into it. So I'm I just need something to excite me again, especially after reading The Hero of Ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in
Because
book
It's
slump
tough one to
territory.
follow.
I'm a little bit in a book slump. The only reason I finished Light Wielder is because I was having so much fun texting Stephanie about it, not because I enjoyed the book.
Bashing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to finish it and just put it behind me. And so that's why I got through it. But I am in a bit of a book slump. So I started book 7, This Inevitable Ruin by Matt Dinniman, the DCC book 7. And I'm hoping that will get me out of this book slump. So I started it on my way home today. Maybe I'll get some reading done after we're done here. So we'll see.
Nice.
Well, I also had a pretty uneventful weekend. Saturday, I just spent the day basically cleaning the house, and then afterwards, I just read in the evening, actually finished Heated Rivalry. And then Sunday, I didn't have anything to do, so it was just a full day of watching TV. So I started with Heated Rivalry, the series, finished that, and then got caught up on House of the Dragon,
Yay!
which is on season 3 and super exciting.
Yeah. I need to catch up on the
That was pretty much my weekend.
Yeah.
I need to
watch
catch
that
up
episode.
on House of the Dragon. I haven't seen any of this season yet. I've been consumed with Drag Race All Stars 11.
Okay. It's been pretty good so far.
I like it so
Okay.
far. Did you watch season 2?
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But it's been a while now since, you know, there's
Yeah.
like years in between seasons for every show.
Yeah.
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 I will say season 2 was good, but it wasn't as good as season 1. And season
True.
3 is good so far. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Well, before we jump right on into today's episode, I'm going to hand it on over to Steph for our standard spoiler PSA.
Yep, that's right, you guys. Before we get started, just a quick spoiler warning. If you're listening to this episode, we're assuming that you have finished Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reid, because we are going to be spoiling a lot in this discussion. So if you haven't read the book and finished it, please make sure to go back and read and finish it so that you can come back and join us in our discussion. And before we start our discussion, just want to give a quick call out. If you are enjoying our podcast and our book discussions and you want to help us out, please write us a review on Apple Podcasts. It would really help other readers find us and our little book community to grow. And we would also love to give you a shout out on our next episode if you write us a review.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Want to shout you out. All right, so before we go into our discussion today, I'm going to help us by summarizing events from chapter 15 until the end of this book, so we have some context for our conversation today. So, after years of keeping their relationship strictly physical, everything began to change after Shane admitted to himself that he cared about Ilya. That shift only deepened when Shane came out to Rose, ending their fling with honesty and compassion while gaining a lifelong friend in the process. Around the same time, Shane and Ilya were finally teammates at the All-Star game, where they shared some of their most vulnerable conversations yet. Shane came out to Ilya, and Ilya opened up about the fear and isolation he lived with because of his family, Russia, and the reality of being a gay or bisexual professional athlete. Once the All-Star break ended, their connection extended beyond their secret meetups. They started texting constantly, video calling, and becoming an everyday part of each other's lives. When Ilya's father passed away, Shane was the person he turned to for comfort, and when Shane suffered a serious concussion later that season, Ilya couldn't stay away, quietly visiting him in the hospital despite the risks. Hope for a future together began to feel a little less impossible after they witnessed another NHL player publicly kiss his boyfriend on television. Hello, Scott and Kip.
Love it.
Inspired, Ilya accepted Shane's invitation to spend 2 weeks together at Shane's secluded cottage, where they made a promise to be completely honest with each other. Away from the spotlight, they shared some of their happiest moments, but also their deepest wounds, with Ilya revealing the heartbreaking truth about his mother's death and the trauma he's carried ever since. During their time at the cottage, their conversations shifted from if they could have a future together to how. They exchanged "I love you" for the first time and created a long-term plan. Ilya would pursue Canadian citizenship, sign with Ottawa, and together they would launch the Arena Foundation to support mental health while slowly changing the public narrative surrounding them. Their carefully guarded secret, however, nearly unraveled when, dun dun dun, Shane's father unexpectedly caught them kissing. Instead of rejection, Shane's parents offered their love and support, even as they struggled to process that their son's partner was the one they never expected. By the epilogue, 16 months have passed and their plan is finally taking shape. Ilya is playing for Ottawa, Shane has come out to his teammates, and the Arena Foundation holds its first public press conference where Ilya courageously shares his mother's story. For the first time, it feels like they're no longer just surviving in secret, they're building a future where one day they won't have to hide at all.
This is
I love
such a
it.
great section.
Okay, so now we're going into our deep dive discussion. Again, since this is a romance, not our typical fantasy adventure, we did change up the format. So each of us is going to give a green flag moment where something that stuck out to us that we enjoyed, a red flag moment where we're like, ooh, danger moment. A quote we swooned over. Which character gets the MVP award, so most valuable player, and then which character we think deserves to go into the penalty box. So, Steph, why don't you kick us off here?
Okay, so my first one is kind of long, but it's like a cute back and forth between Shane and Ilya. So in chapter 25, when they were at Shane's cottage and Ilya was talking about marrying Svetlana for citizenship, Ilya told Shane about a problem that he had. He said, "I have this problem," he mumbled. Shane waited. "I like women. I always was thinking that to get married would be nice. Kids, all of that. Someday. But this problem will not go away." Shane bit his lip. "Tell me about this problem." "It's so annoying," Ilya sighed, and Shane could see him fighting a grin. "Always I am with beautiful women, wonderful women, everywhere. Sounds rough." "Yes, listen, these women, they are so sexy and fun, but it's no matter. I cannot stop thinking about the short fucking hockey player with these stupid freckles and a weak backhand." "A weak backhand?" Shane couldn't stop smiling. "Yes, and he just so boring, and he drives a terrible car. And that is my problem. All of these beautiful women, and I am always wishing they were him." Ilya bent to take his third shot. "It's a terrible problem. Fuck." Shane was gonna start crying right here in this games room. He swallowed and steadied himself. "Do you want the problem to go away?" "No," Ilya said seriously, looking Shane dead in the eye. "I don't want the problem to ever go away."
Joel.
That was so sweet.
I know. So this is like the cute banter that I just love from them. And
Yeah.
like it's Ilya being his sweet goofy self. Like this whole time I've kind of seen through his like macho man persona that he puts on. Like he's actually really sweet at heart.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
like this moment really, allows that part of him to shine.
I loved all of the cottage moments. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard to like pick some green flags because I'm like, how many can we put?
I know. I
kind of cheated, so you guys are gonna see about that.
It was really hard.
It was.
I'm going to say it again, but I don't know how it happens that we just, every time, it just so happens that we pick the right part to stop.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that wasn't originally planned for us. Like we hadn't originally planned to stop where we did last time, but it was a perfect stopping point because this part of the novel is nothing but payoff.
Yeah.
From a really long build-up.
Yeah.
And so it was just full of the cute moments, and I loved this exchange in particular. This one was great.
I caught myself giggling. Like I would be like reading. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cute.
Like, Ilya, you stop.
I would just freaking giggle into my book because they were so adorable with each other. I loved it.
They were, yeah. So that was my green flag moment. And then my red flag moment is where I cheated a little bit. Because it's not really a red flag, but it just made me crack up. And I already picked my favorite quote, so I couldn't put it in there. So I made this my red flag. You'll see. So in chapter 27, they went back to the cottage after talking to Shane's parents, and they were talking about how their plan could actually work so that they could be together. Then Ilya said to Shane, "And when I retire," Ilya said, "after I have won 12 Stanley Cups and 13 MVP awards, the hell you will. And you've been retired for like 8 years already because you got very bad at hockey." Shane laughed. "Okay, then I will bring you to that dock over there. I will have hundreds of candles all over it. That sounds like a fire hazard. It's on the water, Hollander. Fucking relax. We'll be beautiful. You will love it. The candles, the lake, the full moon. Oh, it's a clear night? Yes, of course. And I will get on one knee, Ilya, and I will say, 'Shane Hollander, will you please marry me so I can become Canadian citizen faster?'" Oh my God. I just love their banter. Like, it's so cute. So I made this my red flag moment, even though it was just like another cute, sweet moment.
And then doesn't he later like think to himself, like, I wasn't joking about the wanting to get married part. I'm just like, oh my God, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does think that later.
I freaking love it. And that is such a like really cute way to propose too, especially because Shane loves his cottage. He talks about it being his favorite place to be at. And so for Ilya to already be thinking
there.
that. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I freaking love it. Okay, so my first green flag moment, and I already mentioned this, but like there were so many moments in the section that I loved, but I think this one was my favorite part of all. It was in chapter 25 while they were at Shane's cottage. I know that a lot of us will be picking that because there's just so many good ones. Shane wakes Ilya up in the middle of the night to tell him a plan to force the rivalry narrative away. And he tells Ilya that he's going to leave Boston. He's going to join the Ottawa team. That way they're only 2 hours away from each other. They're going to be close to each other and be able to spend summers together in Shane's cottage. And then eventually they start a charity together in honor of Ilya's mom and mental health. Then they'll start a real friendship in public. When Shane tells Ilya this plan, Ilya responds with, "You really think that far ahead, Hollander? You want that to be together?" And Shane responds, "I do. So much it terrifies me." Then Ilya tells him, "I love you." And Shane tells him, "I love you too." And I just absolutely swooned so hard over this because like I was just so proud of Shane for really finally telling him that he wants this future with him and like trying so hard to come up with a plan to make that reality happen, because it's like, okay, we got to tackle this problem, and that problem. This is how we're going to do it. And this is how we get our happily ever after. And I just freaking loved it. I just loved that moment. What did
Well,
y'all
I think it caught him off guard too to think like, oh, this is like a long-term plan. Like you are serious about this. And I think this is what Ilya has been wanting from Shane for years now. You know, just Shane, like I said before, was holding them back. And he's finally getting an actual relationship with Shane and not just a superficial physical hookup situationship or whatever it was beforehand.
Yeah. I do love that it was Ilya who said, "I love you" first too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been saying it for so long now because he's just been saying it in Russian.
I know.
I know.
Where Shane didn't understand.
I love that moment too.
What a great way to just like a great nuance there of just the love that you pick up that Ilya has before it even registers for Shane. You know, I thought that was so fantastic.
So you guys remember like when we were talking about potentially DNFing or keeping this book, and I said there's a beautiful moment in the show that like made me want to cry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
It was the no, not this one. It was the Russian moment where he tells like where he breaks down and tells Shane how he feels in Russian.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it just comes out so much more beautiful in the show than it did in the book. But like that is what made me swoon hard in the show, which we'll talk about the show later. But
Yeah.
anyways, so absolutely love that moment. Thank you, Ilya, for being such a sweetheart. In my red flag moment, I don't know if this would be like considered a red flag moment. It was more so a moment that made me sad, honestly. So in chapter 20, I felt like my heart was breaking for Ilya here. In this chapter, it's where they were finally Skyping with each other for the first time after Ilya was in Moscow dealing with family drama, and they started being a little more open with each other, you know, finally. Ilya so desperately wants more of Shane. I mean, they both do, but the way this chapter ended, it just had me like tearing up for him. So this is what Ilya was feeling after he was thinking about a possible future with Shane. And so this is before the cottage. You know, they're thinking about their futures. And so this is what he's saying. Ilya's deepest fear was that he would be kicked out of the NHL, or at least not be offered a spot on any team. And then he might have to go back to Russia. And he didn't want to think about what would happen to him then. Ilya's stakes were higher, but he knew their relationship would only negatively impact Shane's career too. As soon as he closed the window, he covered his face in his hands and released all of his anguish and frustration and fear into the lowly apartment. And my heart was just breaking for him because he wants this. He wants this so bad, but he is scared of the repercussions of this. Like, he doesn't know how people are going to react. He doesn't know what's going to happen to him in Russia. He doesn't know what's going to happen to Shane. And he's just like, this anguish and frustration. I'm just like, oh, I feel for you, my dude. I feel for you.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough. So, like I said, this book, that first half was a long build up to get to nothing but the good part in this section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of green flags to choose from. So I also had difficulty choosing. But my green flag goes to Shane, specifically the moment where he finally realizes how he actually feels about men, more specifically about Ilya. And this was the moment where everything shifted. The reason that we get to talk about the things that we've already mentioned is because of this moment that happened, where he just owns it and he understands. And I really couldn't have been more proud of his character, because once that realization hit, he went after what he wanted like no one's business. Like there was nothing that was going to separate him from Ilya once that it just clicked in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of that, I have to issue an apology to Shane for last episode, not because of his actions. He still owns those actions, but maybe misunderstanding him. I was thinking that he knew he was gay, and that was a realization he had come to years prior. But
Okay.
this half of the book implies that he's been really trying to come to terms with his sexuality this whole time.
Yeah.
And there were so many parts of this section that I'll talk about later, specifically with his parents, that I related to to Shane in this section. Really, I just green flags everywhere for him, and how he's acted and how he took care of Ilya, even when they were separated by, thousands and thousands of miles.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great. He gets my green flag for, finally understanding.
It takes a lot. I mean, heck, I don't even know half my feelings half the time, and I know I'm heterosexual, so like I don't understand my
enough as
own
it is.
feelings. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can understand what Shane was probably going through. So
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like the whole, especially for, our generation and earlier, it has always been treated as a given, And so as a child, you just, take your parents and everybody else around you that is an authority figure at their word. And so you don't even like stop to even do some introspection about like, wait, actually, does this describe me or not?
yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
Shane is just a victim of that,
Yeah.
culture and that,
Totally.
society, and how we just grow up thinking that the default is hetero
Yeah.
when it's not, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. So leaning into that, my red flag is an actual red flag in my opinion.
Okay.
I learned to love Shane's parents, but they did not give me the warm and fuzzies right off the bat.
Okay.
I realized that the way Shane's dad found out about them was a huge shock to the system, probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally valid. But what you don't do is straight up leave, get in your car and leave and go back home
Yeah.
and leave your son freaking out, trying to fill in the pieces of what you must be thinking and the thoughts that
Yeah.
are going through your head right then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's such a vulnerable moment. I would have been absolutely devastated had that been the way things went down with my parents. I would have melted down completely.
Yeah.
That's tough, but it did all work out in the end. I do love his parents, and I love how feisty his mom is and how supportive they are. But that beginning was a little, it was hard to read.
I think the biggest shock factor was not what he was doing. It was the person that he was
Yeah.
with.
He was with.
Yeah, I don't think they even cared that Shane is gay. It was just like the biggest shock for them was that it was with Ilya.
Ilya.
Yeah. And like for me, it's like not to make excuses for his dad, but like we don't get a lot of personality from his dad in this book, but I just kind of saw him as kind of like a background character, or
Yeah,
like he didn't
yeah.
really like say much, didn't have like much to like add to the story or anything like that. And then like, there was even that interaction where Ilya was asking about like, oh, like what's your dad like? And he said, is that who you get your boring from? And Shane was trying to defend his dad. And he was like, he's not boring. He's like some boring job that he does. And he was like, oh, very cool. So that's kind of the whole idea that we have on who Shane's dad is. So I can kind of see how he got into fight or flight mode, and he chose flight when he saw that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Ethan, like as a parent, you're supposed to be there for your kid in a huge moment like that. And, like he did make a mistake in that moment. He shouldn't have left his kid like that, just hanging, trying to figure out what the heck to do about that. It's unfortunate how that happened, but I do think that they redeemed themselves eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. Even within
Thankfully,
the very next chapter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like they only lived like a few minutes away from Shane. So it wasn't a lot
Yeah.
of time to overthink between,
Yeah.
the fact that he left and then they had to go after him. I do love that Ilya was there for him on that point though, because he was like, I think you
Oh,
should
yeah.
go talk to them. He's like, I can go with you if you want. I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, points for you, my dude, because
Yes.
absolutely, let's go.
Yeah.
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 And
Exactly.
points to Shane for like taking a bump on it. He could have so easily said, like, he could have
Like,
easily
no.
downward spiraled like
Yeah.
he usually did in the past.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And chose this moment for growth. And I thought that was cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. It was great to see them both be together to confront his parents about it. Like, I just love that moment. I'm sure we're going to get into it, so I won't say more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that being said, so those were our green flags and red flags. Some maybe just green flags and one red flag. But now we're going to go into some quotes some swoon-worthy quotes from the story today.
Okay, so mine is pretty quick, but it's actually in chapter 26 when they are talking to Shane's parents about their relationship. So when his parents ask Ilya about all the women that he's been photographed with throughout the years, he said to them, I've been with lots of women. That's not fake. But he looked at Shane, and Shane held his breath. I have only been in love with one person. That was my favorite quote in this whole book because it was so sweet. Like, his mom was kind of grilling Ilya, to be honest, in this interaction.
Yeah, she was.
For part of it.
As she should.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he has been shown to be a ladies' man.
Yeah.
Throughout the years. Like, that's part of his persona. But he didn't shy away from the question. And I think that was a perfect answer.
Yeah, I loved it. I freaking
Yes.
loved that.
And didn't
giggle
she
moment from
even
me.
gasp when he said that? Like, she
Yeah.
had some kind of reaction, and it was I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got you
she
too.
did.
Yeah. Okay. So mine is like a little banter. They had to go back and forth. I couldn't really put it into one quote, but it was just like a little moment. And it was just so freaking cute. And I'm telling you, I had a lot of giggle moments. This is another one. So there's just something about the whole freckle situation that I love. Cause like I noticed that my other quote was about the freckles in the last episode. And so I didn't realize I did it again. I didn't know when I was putting it down. I was like, oh, look, another freckle moment. So this is after Ilya compliments Shane about his glasses. So this is when they were Skyping and Shane was wearing his glasses and like Ilya loved it. And I thought it was so cute.
Yeah.
Ilya tells Shane, you are very beautiful. And Shane responds, come on. Ilya says, it's truth. Your freckles. I am nuts about them. After Shane says that he hates them, Ilya responds with, no, they are stunning. Yes, I'm not using that word right. Very beautiful. Take my breath. And I was just like, I just love you.
Yeah.
so great. He's so earnest about
I know.
like what he's trying to convey.
I know.
Yeah.
I just loved it. And it's all about those dang freckles, you guys. Like, he calls them beautiful. He calls them stunning. He tells them that he takes his breath away. And I'm just like, oh, gosh. I need this, man.
Yeah. Maybe we need to find you a guy with freckles.
I know, seriously.
I
No,
know.
like, I love how Ilya is, like, in love with the freckles. I think that's what's so, like, cute about it. But yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't mind a man
That
with
he has
freckles
his thing.
either.
Yeah. What was the quote
All right.
last time? His stupid freckles?
Yes.
Yes.
It was about, like, him being so angry about liking him so much.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was so cute.
I know.
It is cute. Okay, so my absolute favorite quote here goes to Ilya when he and Shane are talking on the phone.
Lots of
After
Ilya
Ilya's
moments.
father, after Ilya's father passes away and he's back in Russia. Shane, he's obviously worried about him being alone and says as much to him. He asks him, should you really be alone right now? And Ilya's response made both Shane and my heart melt because it literally says that in the next line that Shane's heart melted. But Ilya replies, I am not alone. You are here now, yes? And I that was just so great. I loved that
Yeah.
moment because that was like an in sync moment, right? Where Ilya was picking up what Shane was putting down without explicitly saying so. Like I appreciate you being here for me.
Yeah.
Was the
Right.
sentiment, and I just loved that. That was so great. But I think after being together in the way that they have for years, coupled with the fact that Shane has finally now come into his own and he's realized what he wants, that's why their relationship has been able to go from like 0 to 60 so quickly.
Yeah.
Because things are happening here in this section. Like they're moving really fast and they're getting committed really quickly. And I think it's because of all those factors together. But I think this was just a great moment.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned it earlier, Ethan, about when Ilya went back home after his father died. I also loved the way that Shane showed up for him during that time. You know, he immediately was worried about him, you know, wanted to make sure that he had someone to talk to because he knew, you know, Ilya's conflicting emotions and feelings towards his family, towards Russia, his dad and his brother, and you know, like all the messed up dynamics that he was dealing with throughout the years.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the fact that Shane was there for him, I think also was a turning point, like you mentioned, in their relationship. And it really shines. Like Shane's love for Ilya was apparent in that moment, even though he hadn't said it to Ilya, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took him a bit to even accept Shane in the beginning. Cause like at first he was just like, no, I'm fine. No, I don't need to talk. And then he's the one that would call him or like, hey, can I call you? And then Ilya would be like, yes. And so it was just him letting him in too.
Right.
Because he did realize, like you said, that he was there for him. And I guess he wasn't expecting that maybe from Shane.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. They're just totes adorbs
They
after
are,
this
yeah.
section.
So cute.
All right, so those were our swoon-worthy quotes. Now we're going to go over into our last section before we start rating and reviewing this book. But we're going to get into who gets the MVP in this section and then who gets the penalty box. But judging by our conversation so far, maybe no one gets the penalty box. We don't know.
So for this section, MVP is going to be Shane's parents. So specifically Yuna, when she went into what I like to call momager mode after she learned about Shane and Ilya's relationship and their plan.
That is a momager.
To be together. I thought it was so sweet of her, the way she reacted. So, you know, they explained to them that they've basically been having this relationship ever since they met for 7 years now. And then she took a moment to absorb that information. And then here's what happened. Sure enough, a moment later, she clapped her hands together and jumped up from her chair. All right, what's the plan? She said, we've got a problem. Let's solve it. And then later in the epilogue, after they had announced their charity, Ilya was thinking about how Shane's parents felt like family to him now. He felt more accepted by Shane's parents than he ever had in his actual family. And I just love how supportive Shane's parents are, you know, like, even before they learned about, you know, the relationship between Shane and Ilya and that Shane was gay, Ilya and Shane were talking about telling his parents, and Shane was telling Ilya, like, you know, they're supportive. I don't think they would really care. I don't know why I haven't told them yet. And, you know, mostly I think it was because of who it was that he was in a relationship with, and not necessarily that he thought they would reject him for being gay.
Right.
And this whole time, this is something that Ilya, I think, at first resented Shane for, is how supportive his parents have been throughout his career. Mm-hmm. His parents were, you know, at that championship game when they first met as teenagers. Mm-hmm. And then his parents were at every game that they could possibly be at throughout his career.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like Ilya just saw that as something that he never had, but then they became his parents too. So it was just so sweet. And I love his parents.
Yes.
It always broke my heart a little bit, like seeing anytime that Ilya made like a little, not really snide comment, but he would make a comment about his parents.
Yeah.
I would break my heart a little because I know why he was reacting that way. He has one parent who was absent and then one parent who just is so awful that you want to have loving parents that way.
Right.
I'm sure it's really hard for him to see that in somebody else. So
absolutely.
I just
and your rival of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're truly very much opposites in every kind of sense. You know, you have the one that has a great home background and then one that really doesn't. And so that's, there can only be natural resentment, especially in the early stages of their relationship.
Yeah,
For sure.
I do see where Shane gets like his personality from, and that's his mom, because he's very much like that too. He's like, okay, what's the plan? How are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to come out to the public? Like, what are we going to do? So,
Right. He came up with a plan.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then my penalty box was for Hayden. So
Yes.
if you read that extra
Yes.
chapter after the epilogue, there's an extra chapter where Shane and Ilya had Hayden and Jackie over for dinner one night. And I just didn't like the way that Hayden was acting towards Ilya. And, I was just so frustrated at him the whole time. And honestly, Ilya too, because he was kind of provoking Hayden throughout that whole evening. And then at the end of it, Shane even, scolded Ilya a little bit because he was like, you were goading him, like you weren't making it any better. And I just want the people in my life that I love to love the person that I love too. And so it's like very stressful when that's not working out that way.
Yeah.
And I have some personal experience with this. So I just really felt that in that moment. So I was not loving Hayden because of that.
And it was already happening in the epilogue too. So like, even if you don't get to read that extra bonus chapter at the end, because I didn't even know about it until Stephanie told me about it, because I had like literally closed the book at acknowledgments. But when I did, I was just like, okay, I'm done.
Sorry,
Okay,
Rachel
done.
Reid.
So but the epilogue also has it too, where like Hayden is just very like, I don't want to say the word grossed out, but like he wasn't very accepting of it. And I just was like,
He's having a hard time accepting it.
yeah. Okay. So my MVP goes to Scott Hunter, even though technically he wasn't in
not
these
even in this book.
sections. I know, technically he wasn't in these
kinda.
sections. There were still mentions of him in these chapters. I still consider him the MVP here. So I feel like without him being brave and coming out so public with Kip, like neither Shane or Ilya would have had the courage to spend their summer together at the cottage, where they were basically forced to confront their feelings and say them out loud to each other. Like, I feel like this was a huge pivotal scene for both, and I absolutely loved it. Like, it just takes that one person sometimes to give you the courage to speak out, and I think Scott Hunter was it for these two. Like, immediately, as soon as they both saw it, Ilya was like, I'm coming to the cottage.
Yeah.
Like, that changed his mind, because he was very much on the fence about not going. He was like, no, I'm not going to go. They hadn't talked about it. He was avoiding Shane about it, because Shane had invited him, but he never accepted it nor declined the invitation. So thank you, Scott Hunter, for that moment.
Yeah.
So
that did finally make him decide to go. So that was great.
And honestly,
really
that was a really
the way.
And that was honestly a really great like moment too for Scott Hunter and Kip, because like they were also going through some really tough times, and Scott like basically realized, no, I want to be with this man, and so it just came out. So my penalty box goes a little bit to Shane, and I will tell you this, it's nothing terrible that he does in the section, because I feel like he had a lot of really great moments in the section too, but there was like one moment where I just wanted to be like, Shane, stop it, like I need you to stop. We finally see both Shane and Ilya confess how they feel, not only to themselves but to each other. Like we've already talked about, they have been so freaking cute with each other throughout this section. Towards the end in chapter 27, after Shane and Ilya like face Shane's parents and tell them the truth, and they call each other boyfriends, a swoon moment, Ilya feels like this huge sense of relief and happiness that all he wants to do is be happy and celebrate with Shane. But of course, classic Shane goes into overthinking mode and like tries to plan every like single step of what they need to do. He's like, okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And like just goes into like,
reminds me of someone.
I don't know who you're talking about. I have no idea who you're talking about.
It's like that white chicks moment, like, oh my God, Brittany, well, you were thinking it. I know, but you said it. Like,
yeah.
Hey, I know I get in my own way sometimes, okay? I acknowledge this. But anyway, so he's trying to figure out this plan. He wants to go into this plan now.
Yeah.
But I love what Ilya says to help him snap him out of this. He says, I am celebrating. You should join me. And then Shane responds, now my head is racing. How can you even be thinking about other stuff right now? And Ilya says, because it is a beautiful day and we are alone and I met your parents and I want you to calm the fuck down and I love you. And I'm just like, yes, you know, and
Exactly.
sometimes even I need that. I'm just like, it's not that important right now. You can
Yeah.
figure this out later. Right now, it's about being happy, living in the moment. Look at this big step that we just took together, and let's just like be present, you know?
Enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Put your head out of the future. That'll come.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, my MVP goes out to Rose.
A good one. Yeah.
Yes.
So without her very intentional conversation that she had with Shane, none of what we're talking about would have happened.
Yeah.
So she could have just assumed that he was lousy in bed and
True.
dumped him right then and there. But she did see something in him that was important enough to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how perceptive of her to realize to even ask the question. He to ask the question she had about the NHL and, you know, how they view, you know, coming out, the LGBT community. And then just to realize also that he didn't have anyone to talk to. And so
Yeah.
she became that person for him. Shane needed to say those things out loud for him to actually accept the truth about himself and then to be able to pursue what he wanted with Ilya really in earnest. I just love how a side character like Rose was brought about kind of really, in my opinion, the most pivotal moment of the series. I thought it was very important. And yeah, she gets my MVP here.
I actually had a really hard time. I was going back and forth between Rose and Scott Hunter when I was thinking about MVP because I thought the same thing. Like
Okay.
this was such a huge moment for Shane where like you said, he was forced to like say this out loud. It's like, you're not performing well, sweetie. Like, why do you think that is?
Yeah. And she was so gentle and kind about it. She was like, but
She was.
do you like kissing me?
Like, do you what?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you would rather be kissing Miles. You know?
I love
But
it.
yeah, that was just such a great way to like gently make him realize,
Yeah.
you know, that he's gay and accept
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
know?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So my penalty box, I may be cheating here a little bit too, because is it a cop-out to say that the NHL deserves to go in the penalty box?
I agree.
I don't think so.
Like,
That's basically
you
the whole point of the story and why they can't be out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad on you, NHL, in this fictional story.
That's a good pick.
But I can't think of anyone really that needs the penalty box in this section. But, you know, just this deeply rooted homophobia in institutions like professional sports, not just the NHL, but, you know, NBA, MLB, and everything.
Everything.
So it's just, there's such a stigma around it, and it's just blatant sometimes. So yeah, they get the penalty box.
Yeah. Well earned.
Yeah. No, for real.
For real.
So, I mean, you're right. Like they're the whole reason why they can't. And honestly, they're the ones that pitted them against each other. Like they created this narrative of being rivals, and they're the ones that are making it so hard for them to be friends. What a weird concept.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The damnedest
And
thing.
like even at their first All-Stars game where they should have been playing together because they're in the same, I guess, conference or whatever, probably using the incorrect verbiage, but I'm not a sports girly. But they separated them into like European players versus Canadian players to pit them against each other and like stoke the flames of this rivalry. So yeah, exactly. Like they are the reason that they couldn't be out about the relationship or out at all.
I think it's a great penalty box, Ethan.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go into our final reviews. I can get us kicked off here. So this one was 4 stars for me. I think after reading this one, I actually might change Game Changer to 3 stars. Not meaning that it's a bad book, but I just enjoyed it more than Game Changer.
Okay.
And I didn't think that I would, considering, you know, the first half of this book is kind of it takes a lot
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to tolerance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I might have to change my game changer rating. But
Okay.
again, I think we picked a perfect way to divide this book
Mm-hmm.
because this last section that we read had nothing but payoff
Mm-hmm.
after a long build up in the first half. While I did not enjoy Shane's character in the first half of this book, I find myself relating to him most in the second half.
Okay.
The second half was nothing but cuteness overload,
Yep.
interspersed with more spice.
Of course,
There was
yeah.
a lot of spice, and just Shane's cottage. That whole scene was just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of the enemies to lovers trope, the dynamics between Shane and Ilya was very reminiscent of reading Red, White, and Royal Blue to me.
Yeah. I love that
The way
book.
they have to overcome things.
Yeah.
And I loved this story. The second half of the story was just great.
Yeah.
So solid 4 stars for me.
Okay, so me too, 4 stars, which is funny because I almost DNF'd it.
I know.
So 4 stars for this one. Very similar to how I felt about the show when I first started this book. I almost didn't finish it. I almost didn't finish the show either. I actually had to go back and rewatch it a few times. The first few chapters were just a bit much, and I honestly didn't know if I wanted to continue. I wanted something more, I guess. However, obviously, I did not DNF, and I was pleasantly surprised that the book finally picked up for me, and I completely fell in love with Ilya and Shane. And honestly, like, as I was thinking about our like review and like just writing about this, like, it was kind of funny to think that in the first few chapters, you get a lot of frustration and anger with the characters and how they feel towards each other. And it's actually how I felt when I was reading it. Not anger, but just with like frustration that I wasn't like picking up the story very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the story progresses, like you start to fall in love with both of them as they're falling in love with each other. So that is great writing, if you ask me. I could have done with less spice, but I ate up the romance and their cute stolen moments together. I ate all of that up. Absolutely loved it. I haven't decided if I'm reading the rest of the series yet, or if I'm just going to wait for the show to give us 4 seasons. So we shall
That's
see.
fair.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so I am gonna meet y'all halfway and give this one a 3.5 stars. So for similar reasons combined with both of your thoughts on the book, the beginning, like there was just not a lot of story, like just intimacy scene after intimacy scene after intimacy scene, and it was getting so repetitive. And again, like we've mentioned several times already, as a podcast we almost DNF'd the book because of that. So because of the way it started off and how you have to get through literally a third of the book before there's actual plot happening.
Yeah.
So it did pick up, and then we finally saw why there's so much hype behind this book, and I just loved getting to see them finally accept and admit their feelings for each other and truly fall in love with each other. And then I just wanted a little bit more from the ending, though. Like, I want to see their happily ever after. They have a plan for it, and they've started to like put the plan into motion, but they're not all the way there. Some of their team members know that they're gay or bi, but not that they're together. Only Hayden on Shane's team knows that Ilya is the one he's in a relationship with. And so like I want to see more, of their plan actually develop. So maybe in, the rest of the series we'll see more of that develop. And so that's why 3.5 stars for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, you can't get all of
That's
that
fair.
if there's like a 6-7 book series. Like,
True.
you gotta have
Yeah.
that build up towards the other books, like, or else it would have been a standalone.
Exactly. But,
Yeah.
so I'll probably read at least another book or so, just because hopefully there's a little more of the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's kind of like Game Changer, where like book 1 was Kip and Scott, book 2, Scott and Ilya, and maybe the second one is also, Scott and Ilya, Shane and Ilya. And I wonder if like later books, maybe there's other characters that haven't been introduced that we don't know about yet. And that's why there's so many books, because I cannot see how this story is going to get stretched out this much. Like,
yeah, I doubt
feel
it's
like
all going to be on these characters. There's probably going to be more.
I feel
but
like a trilogy
yeah.
would be good. And then like, or even a duology would be good for this, like for their story to wrap up, you know?
yeah.
I feel
I
like
just
it's
want a little bit
probably-
more from that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like there's probably like characters that we've already met. Some of the other hockey players are going to
Yeah.
be the focal points of the next
Yeah.
books.
Yeah,
Like I
maybe.
predict Price is going to have another
I was gonna
appearance
say Price.
in the series because, you know, it's been mentioned that there's something odd about Price. And I'm like, what could that be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, book friends, that was our second and final deep dive discussion on Heated Rivalry, the book by Rachel Reid. Let's keep the discussion going. We are Books Between Friends Pod on all platforms. Share with us what were some of your favorite Shane and Ilya moments. Like we had tons of them, so we want to hear what yours were. Thank you guys so much for interacting with us in our socials. We look forward to chatting with you all about this book.
Okay, so we have read Game Changer. Well, most of us have. We've read Heated Rivalry. So the obvious next thing to do would be to watch the show.
Yay.
That's right. Join us on our next episode as we watch the show and compare it to the book. Will our favorite moments still be there? Will we be obsessed with some new moments? Come join us on the ice for our next episode. That's a wrap for Books Between Friends today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next chapter.